next speaker, who is going to be the first keynote speaker for today, is a Nigerian business executive, coach, and speaker, a chartered accountant, and has successful career in banking, IT, and oil and gas, as well as accounting that span over 2 decades. He sits on board of many organizations and has served as an advisor to many business executives. He's a former president of Total E&P Cooperative Nigeria Limited, a leading cooperative in Africa where he provides strategic direction and oversees the activities of a multi-million-dollar organization. Clap if you want to clap. He is considered a thought leader in the areas of entrepreneurship, technology, creativity, and innovation, and has been featured on several platforms like The Guardian, The Punch, Nigerian Television Authority, Channels TV, among others. He has contributed to interviews and comments to various discussions on subjects of national development, and has also facilitated corporate training sessions on subjects of leadership, team building, time management, and youth empowerment. Our speaker holds a BSc in an MBA in Business Administration and Doctor of Ministry in Theology. He is a doctoral student of the International School of Management in France with a research interest in entrepreneurship, creativity, as well as innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker is a pioneer member of the Global CEO for Africa, an executive in education by IESC Spain in conjunction with the Lagos Business School, Nigeria, and the Strathmore Business School in Kenya. He has participated in various leadership trainings, including the prestigious London School of Management and Leadership with Money, United Kingdom, as well as Lagos Business School, Nigeria. He is a senior pastor. Keep it going. He is a senior pastor of the Living Impact Christian Center, Lagos, with branches in Port Harcourt and Abuja, Nigeria. He's an avid chess player, very smart, and loves technology and seeing action movies. It's about to be a movie, guys, as we welcome on stage our keynote speaker, Dr. Wale Olasoji.
Please, let's have a seat. At some point when professional MCs introduce you, you will wonder whether you are the one they are talking about. I'd like to welcome all our speakers and guests. Thank you for coming, Dr. That was so brilliant. Sometimes when you listen to some speakers, you wonder what is left to be said. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for coming. I also like to welcome our online audience for being a part of this. And to our convener, thank you, Mary, you are fantastic. Thank you for inviting me to speak in this conference. We have a few things to share about, and it always excites me whenever we have the opportunity to talk together, particularly with young people. Why? It's because of the possibilities that exist. When young minds are carefully tuned and focused in a specific direction, there's the time, there's the flexibility, and a lot can be achieved, both at a personal level and at a national level. The theme, which is excel, what I hear when I hear excel is let me breathe. And you'll agree with me that all around these days you hear things around let's breathe. Say, let the single breathe. Let the poor breathe. Who again is asking to breathe? The truth, though, is that you don't need nobody's permission to breathe. You should just breathe. So let me tell your neighbor, please breathe. Please breathe. No one is stopping you. It's interesting to know how powerful breathing out is. Dr. Ayo spoke about breathing in and breathing out. When we breathe in, we soak in resources. from the environment. We take in what we need. When we breathe out, we give out what we produce. You know that we breathe in oxygen. What do we breathe out? When you breathe out carbon dioxide, it looks to you like, what am I even doing? It seems effortless. In fact, it's so effortless to breathe out that sometimes you don't know you're doing it. But you see, your own output, which looks like your waste, which looks like the leftover of your natural process, it's what some other things around you in the environment needs. And God has so designed it that what you produce will always be needed by some people. If you think you are useless, if you think there's no value, you just need to look for the connection. What I'm producing, who needs what I'm producing? There will always be somebody somewhere who needs what you're breathing out. So, breathe. In looking at the subject, I want to talk about a few things which I've worked in my own personal experience. You see, I didn't grow up in Lagos. I grew up at Ife. I didn't go to the best of schools, not the worst of schools either. So it was just like in the middle there. The only time I left Ife was when I went to the Polytechnic. And how many of you have heard of Ire before? Ire? Not many of you. Yeah, it makes sense that many of you have not heard of Ire. So I left Ife for Ire Poly. I did my OND there. Then when I did my OND there, I went to Poly Ibadan for my HND. So it was while I was doing my HND that I decided to pursue a BSc. So I obtained the direct entry form. I filled Ife again. You know, there's just something sometimes you don't want to leave where you're coming from. So I filled Ife, and interestingly, Ife accepted me. So I went to OAU, studied accounting, and the rest is history. But what did I do? Eventually, I moved out and I realized how that in terms of exposure, there was not much going because of where I grew up. I said to people jokingly that until I started working, so that you can understand my background, until I started working, the closest I came to an aircraft was when I went close to the TV when they were showing an airplane on the TV. But I soon realized that your background does not have to put your back on the ground. I realized that your past is not necessarily a good prediction of your future. No matter where you're coming from, if you can master a few things, you can soon become the champion, such that everybody defers to you in the subject, in a specific knowledge area. You are able to breathe, you are able to live, and you are able to shine. In my opinion, while this will not be exhaustive, I'll just share a few things that come to mind. I think personally that the first thing everybody needs to have is a strong identity. Nobody is likely to know who you are if you don't know who you are. One of the few things we see in the Bible, and anywhere you go, if you're filling a form today, they want you to reveal your identity. Who are you? Many identities have been battered, such that if I ask you who you are today, many of you are not proud to talk about it. Maybe because, number one, you are like me, you feel that you grew up in a place where nobody will want to hear, about. You think it would have been great if you grew up in Ikoyi or in all of those other places. But where you grew up does not necessarily impact what grows on your inside. So a very strong identity will be helpful in breathing, in living, in shining. When they said, let the poor breathe, the first question I ask is, who is the poor? If you are poor here, raise your hand. All of a sudden, nobody is raising their hand. But on your WhatsApp status, you're asking, let the poor breathe. You know what? The poor man is not the one who doesn't have money. It's the one who doesn't have an idea. And you may be here today, you think, I've not got money in my pocket, but you still say to yourself, that doesn't make me poor. I am not what I am going through. It will come to pass. You may not have money today, but it doesn't mean that you will not have money tomorrow. Never agree to give yourself a permanent label because of a temporary status. Let the poor breathe. Now, I'm not one of the people they are talking about. Doesn't mean that I have arrived where I'm going, but it means I am no longer where I used to be. I'm making progress. I have a very strong identity. That you fail a subject does not mean that you are dull. Everyone has an area where they are not there at their best. Say, I'm not very good with maths. It means I'm not so brilliant. Who told you that mathematics is the yardstick of measuring intelligence? You failed WAEC, and so what? My CGPA in the university is not good. What tells you that it cannot be reversed? A very strong sense of identity. Now, you know what I've found out? Whenever I meet people that have had the opportunity of being mentored either by their parents or different mentors to let them know who they are, no matter what they are passing through, they still have some focus. They have hope that something is going to change in the future. And I want to talk to young ladies today that before you get into marriage, have a very strong identity. I see young ladies say, and this is shocking, they say, Lord, I pray for a good husband. I pray for a rich husband. I pray for a man who God has blessed. In fact, some people go ahead and say, I can't marry anyone who is not rich. And I say to people, I love your prayer, sister. What if we could change it to say, Lord, make me the rich one? If you are so sure God answers your prayers, instead of praying for that man that you have not seen, why don't you pray that you will become that person that you surely desire? Very strong sense of purpose and identity. Let the single breathe. Very nice hashtag, isn't it? But I see a lot of young ladies misbehave today because they are desperate. They think that their identity is tied to finding a man. Listen, you don't need to find a man to be who God has created you to be. It's beautiful to be married. I'm married. I have children. It's lovely. It's one of the most interesting things. But if life happens, you have not found a man, you're in your 30s, don't let that destroy your sense of who you are. You are still the best. God was at his best the day he made you. You are not inferior to no one. Hallelujah. Amen. Strong identity. It will help you that even if you fail an exam, you say to yourself, I just failed an exam. It doesn't make me a failure. You are not defined by temporary things. You are who you are. Strong identity will help you not to follow the crowd. I see a lot of people these days who are not happy with how they've been created. Let's start with color. Instead of you to be happy being chocolate black or whatever color God has created you, you spend a lot of money to destroy the color of your skin because you saw somebody you want to be like, and now it's led to a lot of complications. So, at the end of the day, if you think your sense of identity can be found in looking like someone else and talking like someone else, in behaving like someone else, then you do not understand what we're talking about yet. Come and say to yourself, I'm happy the way I am. Oh yeah. You need to get to that point in your life where you're happy the way you are. With your sexual orientation. Now, I know that's a very tricky subject, isn't it, these days? But you see, at some point we've got to tell ourselves the truth. I read this week, and I'm sure some of you did too, this was someone who, has changed his gender because of his sexual orientation. And sometimes when you use certain pronouns, you're not sure whether it's the new pronoun or the old pronoun. But the problem was that this person began to feel that their new orientation was clumsy. It's online, go and read it. This person began to feel the orientation was clumsy, they weren't comfortable, and wanted to go back to the old lifestyle, except that this person has done certain permanent changes to their system, to their organs and genetic makeup. That has now created a permanent problem because now he can't go back to how he used to be. And the question I have is, why did you change in the first place? It's not about church. It's not about religion. It's not about spirituality. We're just talking nature here. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You don't need another man's validation to be who you are, period. And I want to say, let's say this to our siblings, our children, and our mentees, that they should be happy the way they are. Strong identity will be my number one point. I am who God has made me. I am a woman. I'm happy to be a woman. I am the best that God has created. Everybody else can claim to be the best, but I know that I am the best that God has created. I'm not good with physics. I may be very good with literature and English, which means that maybe I should go and study law. Identity. You will not be talking the way you are not. Sometimes it's difficult to find help the moment you start behaving like what you are not. Do you know what I'm talking about? I met a young guy the other day, and just for the first time meeting him, I could tell he was doing everything to impress me, except that I was not impressed. Maybe I would have been better impressed if he was just himself. That's what breathing is about. Just be yourself. Relax. This packaging is too much. This whole thing is not allowing you to breathe. That is what is choking you. How many of you have found out that anytime you think too much about breathing out, it actually affects the natural flow of breathing? Is it true? Yes. You only breathe well when you don't think about it. And you can try it just now. Just try to say to yourself, how do I even breathe? And the moment you start thinking about that process, the rhythm changes. Yes. You breathe well when you are yourself. You breathe the best when you are yourself. So please be yourself. Do what? Be yourself. Be yourself. It's the best way to breathe. Don't tell us where your parents are. Oh my God. I mean, I just told you my story, how I grew up. I didn't grow up in America. And if you're disappointed, God bless you. I'm truly Nigerian, proudly Nigerian. Not that I'll now speak to you, then I'll tell you that my primary school education was in New York City, and then if that means that I am not in your class, so be it. When one day I eventually get to where I am going, we will meet at the top and we'll talk at that level. But you will come to respect me more because I didn't form for you. I didn't package for you. The truth is, you can go anywhere in the world to find out about me. There is consistency in the information I have given anywhere. Can that be said of you? Or to A, you are Janet. To B, you are Jenny. And then to A, you are born in America. To B, you are born in the UK. You know what? You have told so many lies that if one of your friends asks you again where you were born, you will forget what to tell them. I'm like, what did I tell you before? Because now you've been born in so many places. People, we don't need this. Have a very strong identity and it will help you. Number two, clear direction. It's the best way to breathe. I am not yet where I'm going. I am making progress. I'm still a work in progress, so I'm not yet a finished product. But I have a clear direction. You know, the unfortunate thing is that so many young people, particularly young ladies, don't have a direction for their lives. If the guy you are dating or the guy you have put all your mind on tells you today that he's breaking up with you, some ladies will break down. Let me shock you. As good as relationship is, it is not necessarily a clear direction for your life. You have to first understand independence before you can understand interdependence. You have to first understand being able to stand on your own before you understand being able to stand together. The truth is, we can't be standing together if you are not standing at all. So every young person needs to have a clear direction for their life. Where am I going? I called my son yesterday and his cousin, and we got talking. So he's finished from the secondary school and is about to enter the uni. And during this waiting period, I wanted him to do some programs, because I love filling your time with knowledge. I'm a lifelong learner. So I wanted to get them maybe a coding teacher. So I said to them, okay, you know what, guys, go online. I want you to check the entire life cycle, the value chain of software development. Look at the various actors at the different stages and tell me who you think you want to be. I said to them, this is not about trying to make you a coder or a developer. It's about making you realize that the global direction of the world today has some form of tech underneath. You say, I'm a finance guy. What is making money? What people are doing today is combining tech with finance to do fintech. Right? So I'm an agri guy. Everybody's combining tech with it to be agro-tech. You say, I am an education guy. Beautiful. People are combining tech with it to be what? Edutech. Just remove the last part of any industry and add tech to it, and you find a new industry. I said to them that I am not saying be a coder, But I'm saying that the threshold has just shifted. You can no longer say, I don't like tech. If you don't like tech, you may be out of job very soon. So look for something that can help you have a basic understanding of tech, and then you can apply it in every area. I'm a fellow, I'm a chartered accountant, but I'm a tech person. Not because I studied computer science, I didn't, but I understood very early why tech is important. I'm asking you today, are you future-proofing your career? Are you learning something that can help you to stay relevant? Do you have a very clear direction about where you're going? Or you just playing around, loafing around? I believe that to breathe well, you need to have a direction. You see, when there are so many things that choke, you can't breathe well. Are you with me? Let the poor breathe. It's because something is choking the poor. Do you understand? And there's a way you will not have money. You will naturally choke. You will choke. It is my personal belief that every young person, apart from learning a Greek and learning English and learning what else, it's my personal belief that every young person must learn how to make money legitimately. And not just one way of making money, so many ways of making money. This is the clear direction we're talking about. Don't tell me all your life's vision is to go to the university and to look for a job thereafter. That was what it used to be. The threshold has changed. I read recently that ASU rejected the new syllabus, the curriculum that NUC proposed. NUC is the Nigeria University Commission. And I laugh because we've been telling them that for years. I've been at a few meetings where I said to them, number one, the cycle of updating our curriculum is not at par with the world. Number two, what we currently teach is terrible. Dr. Ayosa, I did Fortran, COBOL, QBasic. Those are languages that are dead. Those are languages that I mean, if you go to OAU today, they are still doing Fortran. Is it true? I don't know about your school. Some schools that are doing secretarial studies, you'll be shocked at what they're using. Don't let the curriculum of NUC limit your ability to explore. If you want to play in the global space, you have to undergo a global curriculum. Let your direction be very clear. This is how at some point in your life you will be able to breathe. You will just realize that there are no limitations. You will just realize that it doesn't matter whether you grew up in Nigeria or you grew up in Benin Republic or anywhere, you can play with other players in the world. Why? Because very early enough, you had a very clear direction of who you would like to be, and you followed it through. Let me move forward very quickly. So what do you like to be? If you have never defined it, define it now. Nobody arrives at a destination that is not defined. I'll tell you a story and I move on to the few more things I have to say before I close. Many years ago, a teacher gave an assignment to our class students. It was a primary school. And the assignment was very simple. Who would you like to be? And you can imagine how typical of many people. I like to be a doctor. I like to be a nurse. What would you like to be? An engineer. That's what some people say, an engineer. Now, at your level, you need to be a bit more specific because the field of engineering is so vast. What would you like to be? So there was this boy. He was an outlier. I love outliers. They think differently from most people. So this boy sat down and wrote a very fantastic essay about what he would like to have when he grows up. So he submitted it. The teacher looked at it, and the teacher returned it that you missed the assignment, but I give you an opportunity to write it again. Can I tell someone something today? There are some professors, they are not qualified to mark your script. Don't limit your life because your professor does not understand your direction. So after 3 days, the father said, you know what your teacher wants? Why not give it to her? He said, no, I know what my teacher wants. But this assignment is not about my teacher. It's about me. And I know what I want. So he submitted it again, and the teacher marked him wrong and gave him the script. Well, he took the script and kept it. Fast forward many years after. It's a tourist center where people come to have fun, very lovely and beautiful place. And this grandma came in to have fun with her grandchildren. Who doesn't like fun? And the moment she came in, the owner went forward to greet her. You're welcome, ma. And so he took her on a tour of that magnificent area. And after coming back, he asked her, ma, do you recognize this place? She looked at him and like, no, how can I recognize this place? I've never been here before. So please take a look again. Do you recognize this place? She said no. So he went quickly inside, and well kept for many years was the script that the woman marked wrong. He brought it out, ran back to the woman and said, ma, if you don't recognize this place, you must recognize this script. He showed it to her, and the woman knew exactly what it was. Spelled out in finicky details in the mind of a primary school boy was what he wanted to achieve. And guess what? He achieved it. The script written many years ago led to the destination eventually arrived at. And that was why he thought the grandma would be able to recognize the script. She read, possibilities lie ahead of you if only you can define it and you can make it happen. Very clear direction. I am positive that clear direction is one of the key things that will be necessary for success in life, for breathing, for living, for shining. Can I tell you this? It doesn't mean that everybody will be a billionaire or everybody will be a millionaire, but it does mean that everybody can live and everybody can shine. Number 3, proven system. A proven system of deep spirituality. Dr. Ayo said something about that, and I'm just alluding to that too. A proven system of deep spirituality, connecting with your God. It will be your unfair advantage in life. It will be the difference between those of you that are all brilliant but do not have a God backing them up. I mean, it's not just something that Christians talk about. Even those that are not Christians talk about too. That there could be a superpower backing you up. In your case, I'm saying that you should make it God. What other proven system? A disciplined work culture. Anybody can dream. Only a few people can act. And with dream, you become a dreamer. It's only when you act on it that it delivers value. We live in a world today where not many people are hardworking. Not many young people want to work. And let me say this very quickly. For those of us that hire people, it's becoming embarrassing and difficult to get young people that really want to work. You know what they tell you these days? That we are millennials. Our generation is different from your generation. Well, whether you're a baby boomer, you are Gen X, millennial, or Gen Z, one uniform thing across board is that if you don't work, nothing gets done. So, please don't sit down under any age bracket to develop laziness. Develop a very disciplined work ethic, work culture, work on your vision, work on your goal. I see people that say, I would like to be an entrepreneur. And in talking to a lot of young people, when you ask them, why would you love to be an entrepreneur? Say, I don't want to work for anybody. One, okay, that's one. Number two, you see, people that work in banks, they work for many hours. Okay, so that's the second motivation. Cool. What else? I think you must have been mistaken, because number one, when you are an entrepreneur, you just remove the lead on your work hours. Is it true? Yes. You will work like a jackal. You will work yourself out. If you're working in a corporate setting, okay, you say my work hours will be 8 to 5. If you're an entrepreneur, no time. You work until you succeed. Say, I will hire people. You may not be able to hire people at the beginning. And even if you hire people and people cannot see leadership, they cannot see you demonstrating commitment to the vision, they won't follow you. So everyone that wants to breathe must develop a disciplined work culture. Have you found out that you sleep better when you have worked very well? One of the recommendations of doctors is that if you're having insomnia, work yourself out. If you work yourself out, naturally, sleep will come. The way to live is to walk. The way to breathe is to walk. Have you found out that if you are not breathing very well, let's say after climbing the staircase you start to pant, they say you're not fit, right? And one way they say you can be fit, they want your heart to work well, is to work it out. Say, do some aerobics. You hit the gym. You start doing something. And all of a sudden, by working well, your heart begins to work well. By working well, you breathe better. So breathing is not by sitting. Breathing is walking. If you develop a very good work culture, we will see you at the top. A lot of people spend time praying, which is good. I pray. But what people don't realize is the balance between work and play. In fact, what I do a lot these days is pray while working. So you are able to get a lot of hours to work and a lot of hours to pray. Now, don't misunderstand me. There are some prayers you can't pray while walking. You need all the concentration. That's beautiful. I'm just saying that it gets to some point you can now combine prayer and walking together. Lastly, because of time, you need a profitable network. You need a profitable network. You can do a lot by yourself, but you can do a lot together with people. One of the reasons we come for conferences like this is to meet new people, to forge new relationships, to hear from people who are doing things differently. Okay? Like when I listen to Dr. Ayo speak, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. He has all daughters, I have all boys. Somebody said, when are you going to have a girl? I said, I'm done. After 4 boys, I allowed them to have the girls. But it's interesting how he depicted, in very clear terms, how he treats the women in his life. And let me tell you this, we didn't just listen to that. He sowed a seed in our hearts. And whether you like it or not, some of you that are women beaters, next time you feel like raising your hand, the words of Dr. Ayo will come to your mind again. To say, there's someone who doesn't beat women. I can be one of that. And you just bring it up. And The lady says, bring it. You just look at yourself. I know that my excuse has always been you provoke me. But you know what? Today, I take back the control. It is no longer about what you do or what you don't do. It's about who I am. That's the power of network. I said to one of my prodigies some time ago that I don't cheat on my wife. I have never cheated on my wife. I do not plan to do so. And he looked at me and he said, I love hearing this. So what I hear around are people say it's difficult, it's challenging. So, but when I hear people like you say this, it reinforces my belief. It makes me know that I'm in good company. It makes me know that I am not alone. I can do this. If Dr. Wale is doing it, I can do it. And guess what I do too? I don't associate with people that tell me how it is natural to cheat. Because if you listen consistently to people that tell you how natural it is, very soon your mind, that's why it's called mindset. It will set your mind. Very soon you will begin to believe that it's natural to cheat. But when I relate with people that tell me, no, it's not natural, it's not normal behavior. In fact, the normal behavior in our tribe is that we don't cheat. It feels awkward to you. So is success. I have so related with successful people that I now believe that it's impossible for me to fail. Did somebody get that? Now, I didn't say can, I said it is impossible for me to fail. Oh, I can fail in an endeavor, but I try again. And if that doesn't work, I go again until I succeed. Successes don't have to tell you how many times they fail before they succeeded. What matters is that they eventually succeeded. And you are as rich as your network. So I encourage you, as you have come to this conference, listen. Don't just listen, make friends. Make new friends. It will be my joy when some people come out tomorrow to say, 3 of us friends started a business together. But guess what? We all met at the Multiwoman conference. If I've not said anything today, thank you. If you've not heard anything today, it is this. You don't need another person's permission to breathe. You are in your natural habitat when you breathe. So if you have ever given that permission to anyone, withdraw it. Say to yourself, I'll breathe. I'll live. And I'll shine. Thank you.